Hi, I'm Cheryl. I have a really lovely birthday card today. And yep, it's another basically black and white one. Don't don't go, "Oh my gosh, why is she doing these cards all in black and white?" Think of these as a layout sketch, and you can add in color anywhere you want, or designer papers, but just start with this in the black and white. Although I think they look pretty sharp just in black and white too. So this is what we're going to need today. We need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. That's our card base. I have another piece of Whisper White here, and it's 1 3/8 and it by 5 inches. We're going to stamp on this, and then we're going to cut it into squares that are 1 3/8 inches, and we'll have a little bit of waste left over. But that gives us a little bit of wiggle room if we want to move, if we like the design on this little section a little bit better than on this little section. We have that option. Now I have 4 pieces of Tranquil Tide. That's a new Stampin' Up color. And these are 1.5 by 1.5. And I have another piece that's 5 by 3 7 3/4. And another piece of Whisper White. This is 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. All these sizes will be listed down below, so don't worry about them. I'm using a Birthday Blast stamp set. We're using this big Happy Birthday right here. And then from the Timeless Textures stamp set, I'm using this Flourish. That's kind of a grunge type of effect on it. I'm going to be using my mini Misty today, because this is quite a large stamp. The Happy Birthday is quite a large stamp. I haven't used it a lot of times, so it's still kind of, I guess you would call it, getting broken in. And since it's a rubber stamp, I'm removing the stamping mat from my Misty. I'll be using these pearls. They're kind of an aqua color. These are one of my wonderful finds at the dollar store, but you use what you have. Memento Tuxedo black ink and the Tranquil Tide ink. So let's get started on our card. So I need to get my little strip out here that we're going to stamp on. Get my stamp out. Set it up on a block. That one's a little small. Let's try this one. There we go. That just fits on there perfect. And I'm going to stamp in the Tranquil Tide. We're going to be using Tranquil Tide as our tiny little borders around these, and I'm going to also stamp the design that on the blocks in Tranquil Tide. And I'm just randomly, any old place on this paper, I'm just stamping it. If you don't have a silicone mat like I do, you might want to put a little piece of scrap paper underneath while you're stamping. But I have my mat, and I can just wipe that off. No problem. I haven't had anything stick on this mat yet, except for glitter. Glitter loves this mat. Alright, and I'm so thrilled, I have a spot on my table. I can actually bring my trimmer in. Generally, I run out of room, and I have my trimmer sitting on my lap. So now we're going to cut these squares, and 1 3/8 inch squares. So line that up here with my paper along the top edge guide and cut. And I'm not going to be too picky about where I'm cutting. And, well, would you look at that? I miscalculated on this, I believe. I just cut wrong. Oh no, I cut wrong. That is a catastrophe, right? Nah, it's not. I'll just grab another piece of some Whisper White cardstock here. I'll cut myself another strip. And we'll do some stamping on that, and I'll get my other 2 squares cut out. Get my Tranquil Tide here. My dirty stamp, I didn't even clean it yet. And there we go. Wipe the table up again. See, there's very few things that are a catastrophe when you're making a card. Generally, there's a fix for it. Sometimes you just say, I meant for it to be that way. Okay, there we go. Line that up. And one more. The whole idea of making these cards, you're supposed to be having fun, right? So don't stress. It's all good. Now I'll get all my little squares are cut. And I'll get my little Tranquil Tide ones out. Oh, I don't think I mentioned we need Tombow glue. I'm using Tombow on this as opposed to the snail adhesive because these borders are just so tiny. Put a little Tombow on. And the Tombow gives us some time to line it up just perfect. If you use snail, it's well, once it's down, it's down. This stuff sticks good. But so does the snail. But like I said, it gives you a few seconds there to just line them up nice. I hope you all had a good Mother's Day. I had a good one. I did some arts and crafts with my grandson. One of the I made my daughter a Mother's Day card. This will be her first year as a mother, and I made it for my grandson to give her. He's just 4.5 months old, so of course he couldn't sign it. So I got out my acrylic paints and sponged acrylic paints on his hand and did a hand print. And it was so cute because when she opened the card, she was holding him at the time, and he kept going like this on the card where he had his hand print, like he was showing her how he did that. So it was just so cute. She almost cried. So it did what it was supposed to do. Okay, so now we got our larger piece of the Tranquil Tide, our piece of Whisper White for the card front here, and we're going to stamp our happy birthday sentiment, and I have it all lined up on my mini Misty here. So I just slide that in there. And since I'm working upside down, let me make sure that that's how I had it lined up, and that does not look right to me. So I'm gonna move this over. Yeah. I want that centered side to side. And just a little more. A little bit more. There we go. Right there looks good. And I'm going to ink this with my Memento ink. It's in the Tuxedo Black. And the nice thing about the Misty is if I don't get a good impression the first time, well, that's fine. I can just ink it up, and it will, as long as my card doesn't move, then it will stamp it in exactly the same place a second time. And on rubber stamps, that's almost impossible to do. You'd have to have a lot of luck, but let's see. Luckily, Happy could be a little bit better. So I will ink that up again. Yeah, it'd be almost a miracle if you got one of these rubber stamps stamped by hand in exactly the same spot the second time. If you're really, really good, you might be able to do it with a photopolymer, but that's why they make things like this. And there are other brands of these out on the market now. So, whatever one. So we've got our happy birthday. That looks wonderful. And we can put our little tumbled blocks across the top. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to put this down here so then I have an idea of how far off the edge I can go with my tumbled blocks. So once again, I'm using the Tombow because I have such a teeny tiny little border around the edge. And if you wanted to, you could pop up some or all of these, the tumbled blocks on with the dimensionals. I'm not going to do that. So let's see. I think I'll start on this end right here. And I'm going to have that kind of straight. And we'll just work around. Our sentiment here. Then I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do that one. Let's see, like this, I think. And maybe kind of sort of straight there. And now I'll fill in with the other two. I don't want to cover for my sentiment. And I can go just a little bit past here. You see I went a little past the edge because I'll have a 1/4 of an inch border all the way around on my card base. And put the last one on. And I'll tumble that one quite a bit. And I can go just outside the edge of the our panel here. So there we've got our tumbled blocks, we've got our happy birthday sentiment. Let's put that on the card front, or on the card base. And again, you could pop this up if you like to. You know, put some dimensionals on the back. That would look nice. And get that lined up. And we'll put some jewels on. Now let's see. I need to cut these apart. They have a little, so many of these little embellishment things like this have like a little connective thing in between them. Which that makes it nice if you're going to put a line of them on the card. Say I wanted to put 3 down in a row. And you could just cut 3 of them out. And I'll just take my scissors. Normally I would take my pokey tool and do this, but looks like I lost my sticky stuff on that one. This one coming? Ah, that one's got sticky stuff on the back. I guess you can't be too picky if you buy a whole sheet of them like this for $1, right? And we'll put another one over here on the side of our happy. Get on there. There. And I'll cut one more loose. And I'm going to put one just underneath in the middle of the birthday. Right there. So there we are. Now I didn't put anything on the inside. You can use whatever sentiment you like to use. But here's our 2 cards. I don't know if you can even see a color difference, because that Tranquil Tide is a really intense, I don't know what color to call it. I guess it's kind of a teal green color. But it's quickly becoming one of my favorites. I've been using this quite a bit since I got it. So, black and white. And this is the one with the Tranquil Tide. So if you've liked my video, then be sure to hit the like button down below. If you'd like to see more, hit subscribe. If there are any Stampin' Up products you'd like to purchase through me as your demonstrator, then that would be a wonderful thing, and you can do that either through my Facebook page or my website. And as always, all the tools and all the materials anyway will be listed down below in the that area down below here. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.